Hello golfers, this is a video today for the frustrated amongst you that can't get out and play and that are really frustrated because you had a lesson probably before you had lockdown and you've not had a chance to work on whatever it is that you were working on. So you're going to see in a second a couple of little videos that I've just done in my postage stamp back garden. Yes, we're back there again. And you'll see in that the moves that I'm working on in my own swing. So it might be as my takeaway gets a little bit outside, looks like I'm going to start chopping wood. So I've put on, no expense spared, I've put a little mop out there, something to guide my takeaway. I'm holding on to 2 clubs, and this is just also I can work on setting the club on plane. And then in the second video you'll see me working on impact, trying to get a little bit of shaft lean. For those of you not sure what that means, it means for an iron that you would be hitting down on it and hitting ball then turf rather than catching the ground before the ball. So there are little things you can do at home, but just to put a statistic to this, they reckon that it takes about 1,000 repetitions of a movement in a 3-week period for it to become automatic. So this doesn't mean 1,000 balls because at the moment we can't do that, but it means 1,000 movements. So I should have worked this out before I started doing this video, but divide that 1,000 between a 3-week period, and if it means going in your garden for 5 or 10 minutes each day, or even in the house if you grip down on your club so it's short enough, then you can still integrate that movement into your swing. And just to give you a heads up, I don't practice anywhere near as much as I used to before I started teaching, and that's a long time ago. But I was playing golf a few years ago with a friend of mine who I played amateur golf with, and she's like, geez, your swings look so much better than it did when we were playing full time. And I used to practice a lot then. But it's because when I'm teaching, I'm demonstrating all day long the correct movements. And so somehow that's got ingrained into my swing so that when I'm not thinking about it, I can tick probably 8 or 9 boxes out of 10. So give this a whirl. You'll see the video in a second of things I'm doing in the postage stamp, and I hope it's given you a bit of inspiration that you can still work on your game and still keep improving despite not being able to necessarily hit a golf ball. Best of luck. Okay, so you'll see there's 2 swings here. The one on the left was taken just before we did lockdown, and the one on the right is in my garden just now. Now, you want the backswing to go towards the red line, so the club is trailing up towards that red line, and then the downswing you want to come down towards the green line. Now, I know that when I get a bit tight and I get a bit anxious, that I get higher than that red line. So what I'm doing here in the garden is I'm practicing trying to be a little bit lower. So I'm exaggerating being a little bit lower to compensate for the fact that when I get anxious and when I get a bit tight, I know it's going to go higher, but at least then it will go up to where it should be and not where it shouldn't. So again, you'll see there, I'm a little bit too flat, I'm a little bit too underplaying, but I've done that again because I know that, yes, this looks great on the left, but I know that when the tension's on, I don't get anywhere near that, and I start hitting some lovely little snap hooks, especially with my driver. So doing things like this, exaggerating the feel, knowing your weaknesses, and allowing for some shrinkage when you're out playing is the best way to practice. Okay, you'll see, going along with the theme that we were talking about a minute ago about exaggeration, you can see here, this is probably not quite the top of my backswing, to be honest. With momentum it would go a bit further, but you can see that there's a good amount of separation between my shoulder and this initial start line compared to my hip. This makes it much easier for you to drive the hip into the downswing rather than attack it with the shoulders. So you can see here I'm really exaggerating that thrust there with my left hip, leaving my shoulder behind. I think this is called the X factor, and that's nothing to do with Louis Walsh. But anyway, this is an exaggerated feel to try and get that shaft lean that I talked about in the introductory video.